All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players.
Hello and welcome to the Travel Show. This week coming to you from Stratford-upon-Avon in England. Now, in 2016, this historic town will be celebrating the life and works of a man who died 400 years ago. Any guesses who it might be? In a moment, I'll be finding out about the enduring appeal of England's most famous playwright and meeting one of his biggest fans. Also coming up on this week's programme, we talk to the man in LA who says that all water definitely doesn't taste the same.
This water is a slightly metallic.
We head to Canada to meet the Iceberg Cowboys of Newfoundland.
Oh, it's a nice chap, boys.
Hello and welcome.
And Carmen's here with this month's top viral videos in trending travel. It's amazing to think that 400 years after his death, the plays of William Shakespeare are still drawing such huge audiences. And this year there's going to be events all over the world to celebrate the 400th anniversary. Now I want to find out a little bit more about what's happening and discover what it is about Shakespeare that keeps tourist sites like this so busy and theatres packed so long after his death. Here at Shakespeare's birthplace in Stratford-upon-Avon, you can see where it all began, with guided tours around the house that he was born in.
He was the third of those 8 children, the first boy and the first...
In an exhibition for this anniversary year, you can also see a copy of the first publication of Shakespeare's plays. They've given me special access to take a look up close.
It's printed in 1623 and it brings together 36 of the plays together in a single volume for the first time. It's one of about 230 copies which survive today. So,
amazing, look at this.
And what's really significant about this is that half of these plays weren't published in any other form in Shakespeare's lifetime. So without the compilation of the plays into this book, they would potentially have been lost forever.
How much would they cost nowadays?
The last one that came up at auction, I think, went for about $6 million US. So
$6 million US.
We've an awful lot to thank Hemmings and Condell for. They were the two people who pulled all of these plays together, spent that time, that long, 7 years after Shakespeare's death, compiling all the plays into this volume. And without them and that hard work, then so much could have been lost. And that's where Shakespeare's legacy really stems from.
So, if that's where it all began, let's fast forward nearly 400 years. Now, Stratford-upon-Avon's not the only place to claim Shakespeare as their own, and I've come to London to meet one of the country's top Shakespearean actors.
Once more to the breach, dear friends, once more!
Perhaps the most famous producers of Shakespeare plays are the Royal Shakespeare Company.
Or close the wall up with our English dead!
Lots of very famous, well-known actors have played Henry V, and that you can't kind of escape that being the case, and that you're going to be, to an extent, measured against those people.
I was going to say, do you look down at that lineage, and does it feel quite daunting?
Yes, yes, it does feel very daunting, but I suppose what I try and take some solace in is the fact that the character of Henry V is daunted by his own lineage. He is daunted by the fact that his father and his ancestors have been these great men.
Follow your spirit, and upon this charge, cry God for Harry, England and Sir John!
As part of the 400th anniversary, we're taking this cycle to China, Beijing, Shanghai, Hong Kong, and then to New York for 6 weeks, which is extraordinarily exciting. I have no idea what it will be like to perform in China, and it'll be very exciting to see what they take from it.
But I will rise there with so full a glory that I will dazzle all the eyes of France. Yes.
Shakespeare seems to just have an amazing eye for the different experiences that a human being can kind of go through and attempt to tackle. sort of more keenly than anyone else.
So, get you hence, in peace, and tell the Dauphin his jest will save a butt of shallow wit when thousands weep more than did laugh at it. Convey him with safe conduct, fare you well.
And surely a part of what has kept Shakespeare so popular 400 years after his death is the treatment of these stories, which have just kept evolving. An international tour of tabletop Shakespeare this year may just see the Bard come to an unconventional stage near you.
Claudius is with his queen, Gertrude, and a whole load of courtiers, including his special advisor, Polonius.
It's basically a project where we made versions of the plot, the story of every one of the Shakespeare plays, always with a single performer who sits at a table and uses a set of everyday objects as kind of stand-ins for the characters.
A ghost appears.
When you lean into the performances, when you focus on them and you invest in the way that the stories are being told, those objects, you know, in this very strange way, do come to life, and you end up staring at the cheese grater or the salt and pepper pot. You know, what's she going to decide to do, or what's he going to do now?
And the ghost asks Hamlet to take revenge.
And it's not just the stage adaptations. I'm about to meet one of the great Shakespearean actors of the stage and of the screen. To mark the 400th anniversary year, the British Film Institute and the British Council have an international touring programme of film adaptations, including Sir Ian McKellen's Richard III.
Now is the winter of our discontent made glorious summer by this son of York.
He's now a brand, of course, Shakespeare. He's on the postage stamps. There are pubs with called Shakespeare.
He probably would never have imagined this,
No,
would he?
he couldn't. So over the years, he's spread out from the theatre, where you could say he truly belongs, into all sorts of other areas. You can get cartoon versions of Shakespeare, animated versions. I saw a production of Macbeth, wonderful play by Shakespeare, the other night in London, and half of it was dancing, which Shakespeare couldn't have anticipated. So that's fine. Shakespeare works very well on television, because sometimes the characters speak directly to the audience. We're used to that on television, people speaking directly at us.
And therefore, since I cannot prove a lover, I'm determined to prove a villain and hate the idle pleasures of these days.
It's the 400th anniversary of his death, so the BFI are here in London going to show 40 of their precious British Shakespeare films, and they're going to take 18, the very best, around the world to 110 different places.
That's a lot of places.
And there'll be 18 films there. And what an introduction, what an education, what a fantastic opportunity. Because some of these films are some of the best films ever made.
And of course, if you're planning on coming to London this year, there's plenty of Shakespeare happening. You can watch Shakespeare in the open air at Regent's Park or visit the famous Globe Theatre. But be warned, because tickets sell out fast. So, time to give it a go myself. Back at Shakespeare's birthplace in Stratford-upon-Avon, you can take to the stage with Shakespearean actors. But soft, what light through yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Juliet is the sun.
Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? Deny thy father and refuse thy name. Or, if thou wilt not, be but sworn my love, and I'll no longer be a Capulet.
Well, if you put it that way, love, I'll be up there. Next, our regular look at the faces behind the places. we talked to the man in LA who says that all water definitely doesn't taste the same.
My name is Martin Riese, and for me it's mandatory to drink on the job. Without water, nobody would be on this planet. So I think, why not giving value to the most important beverage in our lives, water. My job as a water sommelier is to create different water menus. I have 21 different spring and mineral waters. All waters are actually the same. It's all H2O. It's all the same chemical reaction and it's all clear. That's the beauty about water. The most unique thing is that every single water on this planet has a different mineral level. And you can measure this mineral level by TDS, total dissolved solids. Okay, we're starting with Voss water from Norway. It has a very, very low TDS level. This water is a slightly metallic. For me, the most unique thing is why I love water so much is that I'm discovering on a daily basis new taste profiles to water. I think it's incredible that something what we're just calling water has so much variety. Sure, it comes in different bottle shapes, but most of people thinking, oh, it's all the same. It all looks the same, it's all called the same, there's nothing special to it. Gilde from Denmark. And this is a very, very unique water, because when I'm pouring this into the glass, you will see like very, very tiny bubbles. But it's a still water. There is no carbonation in that water. A lot of people making fun of me as a water sommelier in LA because it's an only in LA thing. What I totally understand, because they never met me. They should come to the restaurant and really try the different springs. Water is life, and water is love for me.
Still to come on this week's travel show, we meet the man who cycled across America on a borrowed bike and join the Iceberg cowboys of Newfoundland as they go hunting.
Now that's Iceberg for you. Hard work.
The travel show, your essential guide wherever you're going.
The World Health Organization is warning the Zika virus is spreading explosively across the Americas and could infect 4 million people this year. So what are the risks and the options for travellers to the region? Zika is a mosquito-borne infection that's relatively harmless for most people. Symptoms include a rash, a mild fever and aching joints. But for pregnant women, there's evidence that the virus may be passed to the fetus, causing birth defects with lifelong consequences. With no vaccine against Zika currently available, if you're thinking of travelling to an affected region, the only protection is to avoid mosquito bites. Cover up with loose-fitting clothing and apply DEET-based insect repellent to exposed skin. Many travel companies are allowing pregnant customers going to the region to change destination or postpone their trip. But given the complex and rapidly changing circumstances, pregnant women with plans to visit Latin America or the Caribbean should talk to a doctor first, then their travel provider and insurance company.
Hello and welcome to Trending Travel, where we explore what's hot online in the world of travel. I'll be bringing you through those essential apps, videos and blogs to take with you when you leave home.
For this month's roundup of the top trending stories, we're taking a look at what's been happening on photo sharing app Instagram. The snow to hit the east coast of the USA caused thousands of hits on social media, with snow hashtags trending worldwide and images shared around the world, like these photos shared by Philip Bloom. When Shin Danby left Seoul and her fiancé Lee Suk to study in New York, the couple found a way to combine their worlds on Instagram. Their project, Half and Half, on the account Shin Lee Art, has gathered 128,000 followers. Now, other long-distance couples around the world are joining in too. Our featured Instagram travel star this month is Johan Lolos from Belgium, whose year exploring New Zealand is beautifully told through his pictures. We asked him to tell us about his experience.
So I was just a traveler with a camera and I just wanted to travel and explore the country, but by the end of the trip I was always chasing the golden hour for that perfect picture, you know? I really think New Zealand changed me forever.
And finally, something we definitely don't recommend you try yourself. Cycle hire schemes can be a great way of getting around a city, but Jeffrey Tannenhouse took it to the next level when he left his city of New York on a city bike and kept on cycling from coast to coast over 3,000 miles. He chronicled his adventures on social media.
I felt very trapped in a windowless office working as a corporate event planner, and the bike commute was the best part of my day. This journey was more about travel than it was about bicycling. My favorite place that I rolled through was Tulsa, Oklahoma, which would have been the least likely in my mind before I started out. So it just goes to show you that if you can put aside your stereotypes, that it can lead to great things.
We love staying connected with you all online. And don't forget, we're on Facebook, Twitter, and email. And you've been sending us some great stuff this month.
Your photos have been coming in from around the world, especially on Tuesdays, using the Twitter hashtag #TravelTuesday. Follow us on Twitter or Facebook for exclusive online travel show content. Plus, we'll be keeping you up to date with the top travel news stories. Do check them out.
Now let's look at the viral videos that have been clocking up the views this month.
Vista was a labour of love for Life Smith, who spent nearly 3 years making the film, from locations around the world, including Oregon, California, Canada, and the Himalayas. Time Drift 2 by Martin Heck is a beautiful time-lapse of the Dolomites and Italian Alps. Thanks to a lot of time and patience, this mountainous region looks truly stunning. Rise and Shine by Robert McIntosh and Eric Maloney shows a spectacular side to Los Angeles' Venice Beach at sunrise. This popular tourist destination, seen nearly deserted from a small drone, has been viewed nearly 400,000 times, and we can see why.
And don't forget to check out our website for all the ways that you can get in touch, or if you've seen anything online that you think we should be looking at. See you next time.
Well, to finish this week, let's head to Newfoundland in Canada, where thousands of icebergs float down the coast each year. They're so iconic that many tourists make special trips just to see them. But there's a group of people called Iceberg cowboys who take it a little further. They hunt enormous chunks of floating ice, then use it to make wine, beer and vodka.
Cheers. Cheers. A lot of people don't really believe that iceberg vodka is made with iceberg, so they're very amazed that the story is actually true. When you measure what we call the conductivity of iceberg water, it's really low. It's like 10. Whereas if I were to compare it to tap water, you're going to see the big difference, where this is about 100. Because it's harvested from such a pure water source, being 12,000-year-old icebergs, it is well worth the effort.
Now these iceberg cowboys are becoming something of a tourist attraction in themselves.
Well, we're called iceberg cowboys and iceberg wranglers. I guess we get that name from going out and putting a tow line around a piece of ice and lassoing it. What we do is we harvest ice from icebergs that come up from Greenland, and we put the ice into make iceberg vodka and iceberg beer and also iceberg wines. Everything is danger here, right? The salt water, the icebergs, boats sink and boats float, so you got to keep on your toes. Oh, this is much too big for us to tackle. That's a danger berg there. It's what we call a castle. You can flip over or roll at almost any time. And that piece of ice is probably around 300,000 tons, which is enough to fill the barge up 3,000 times. It's a lot of ice, yeah. We need a bigger gun. Sometimes the shock will break a piece off, right? And sometimes it works too good. The whole iceberg comes apart. Looks like the rifle worked. We fired a couple shots at it and some small chunks fell off, so we're going to retrieve one of them right now.
Now that's Iceberg for you. Hard work.
Oh, it's a nice piece of ice. We're going to get a sample off that one now. Check it out. We've only got a 2-month window to get our product in. We do about 1.3 million liters a year. Hopefully the market is growing now and we'd have to get more ice. Most tourists are fascinated with it, you know. Yeah. Actually, you know, 99% of them.
You are some of the last people to get pictures of these birds before they melt away to oblivion right here in the Newfoundland waters.
We grew up in Newfoundland and we moved to the west coast of Canada. We come back every year with my family to see the icebergs just because they're so spectacular.
I think they're majestic and mysterious. The ice and water that's in there has been there for so many thousands of years. It's just unfathomable, really.
Well, that's it from the travel show this week. Coming up next week, Rajan travels to Berlin to go on a special tour organised by some of the refugees who've made Germany's capital their home.
Hello, I just want to say first welcome. I came from Sudan and my name is Anus. I came in March 2012.
Do join us for that if you can, and in the meantime, don't forget you can follow us on social media. All the details are on your screens right now. But for now, from the birthplace of Shakespeare, it's goodbye.